What the fuck?
It's like croutons in a soup.
Don't turn down any opportunity, whether it's a camp, a clinic, because you never know literally who's watching.
Make your own decision and stick with them and know they're the right decisions, right? And even if they aren't right, don't regret them.
He didn't know creatine existed.
So you got some creatine? He's like, oh, yeah. Lift heavyweight.
Shipped across the border. I shipped across the border.
Shipped across the border, man.
Welcome back to Shipped Across the Border.
All right, well, that's how that goes.
All right. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Shipped Across the Border. My name is Max. I'm here with Chris. And today we have on the first ever virtual interview, Shipped Across the Border. We're trying some stuff out, so bear with us. We may have some technical difficulties. This is the first time you use this platform. But thank you, one of my close friends, high school teammate, Alex Semenov, for joining the podcast today.
Mr. Steve.
He's been on the podcast a couple times, so you guys might look familiar. But the last time you came on the pod, I'm pretty sure you were basketball homeless and rehabbing that ACL, and you came a long way since then. So talk a little bit about kind of your basketball journey post high school. I guess since the last time we talked about this on the podcast.
I feel like I was a very, very bad place during that time we were had the last podcast. I think going through that ACL tear and not hooping for like a year and a half was like a major learning experience. But now since then, like the next big challenge was getting over it mentally. I think just getting back to my regular self, or finding my regular self rather, was really just the biggest thing. Over the next 2 years,
Say it again.
I'm gonna be glitched for a second.
All right. Well, this needed to happen. I'm gonna FaceTime him. This needed to happen at some point for us to figure it out.
That's gonna be my screensaver right there. This is a W pause moment. Fuck me, man. This is why I
Yo, can you hear me?
To do.
Yeah. All right.
Say it again.
I'm on hotspot now. Is it blessed?
Yeah, it's better.
I think we might just be cooked on this one. I'm not going.
Wait, no, I think it's fine.
Give me a string of sentences. Tell me what your tell me what your favorite cereal. Real quick. Give me a couple sentences to see if it's still cooked.
I think the best cereal of all time is Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and it's very delicious.
We could see you, but now it's like you're kind of pixelated.
I mean, if I can hear him, I'd rather hear him than see him.
I mean, we could keep rocking with it. We don't really have much else to put out right now. We're in a little predicament, so I think it's better. So we're back. Technical difficulties. We warned you guys, but I mean, listen, we never used that previous platform. What was it called? Riverside. So yeah, if you have tips for Riverside, let us know. But we're back on Zoom, good old fashioned Zoom, and yeah, so we're gonna pick up where we left off. I think first 15 minutes will be on Riverside and just be choppy as shit, and now we're hopefully get into the meat and potatoes of the episode.
I'm going to ask about imposter syndrome because we brought this up on a podcast with Andrew Ciaglo, his point guard / shooting guard / shot chucker, and
he's one of our best players this year. And so basically, he transferred in from a D2, didn't really play at all, and then was like one of our best players this year.
And we asked him because he went from he redshirted for 2 years at D2, and he was coming out of high school as a 1,000-point scorer. He was frying, and then right to a redshirt where he didn't play at all. And then this year, he was shoved into a starting role. And so I think that's somewhat similar to what you went through because you had a pretty decent high school career, got injured, then was trying to find a home, then you got to college, then didn't play very much, and then got thrown into a starting role. So I'm wondering if at any point did you experience a feeling when you're on the court and like, I don't really belong here. Like there's so much going on. I feel like I didn't really earn this position, or did that happen at all?
No, I definitely feel what you're saying. And I feel like something like that definitely happened. I think it was more, I didn't know what was like expected out of me, you know, because I got thrown into this starting role, like, because I at the start of the year I was playing maybe like there was games where I'd be like playing 10, 12, 13, 14 minutes, which was still pretty like solid, but it wasn't like that type of like, you know, the major minutes type of minutes, you know. So when I got thrown into like the starting role and like 25, 28 minutes, yeah, I just didn't know what was expected out of me. Like I didn't know if I was supposed to start taking more shots, start having the ball more, like, you know, just like having this increased role kind of got me in a place where I was like, okay, I want to be here, but like, how am I going to stay here? You know what I'm saying? And that in my head was like, okay, do I have to make more extra passes as a point guard? Like, am I trying to get more guys involved, or am I coming down and like giving a man a hezzy pull, you know? Like, so that confusion was definitely there. And I didn't really know how to go about it. I did try and like, my main goal was to try and play my game out there, try and like be me as much as possible. But there was definitely that like kind of imposter syndrome or whatever it was called, definitely came into effect for sure.
Yeah, so something that he was talking about was kind of like he had like a set limit in his mind of how many shots he thought it was acceptable to shoot before he felt like he was being selfish. And only when he had a conversation with coach who said like, I want you to shoot whenever you're open because like you're one of our you're a best shooter, and like one of our leading scorers. And so he kind of like broke that box that he put himself in and was able to really he won us some games by shooting the shit out of the ball. And we were talking about that because I brought it up because I felt like there were some times where I kind of felt like I lost confidence in myself just because I went obviously freshman year did like pretty much redshirted. Last year only played in garbage time, and then this year I started some games as well. Like we talked about my year on a bunch of different episodes, but there are times where I would be playing in a crucial moment in the game, whether it's like 8 minutes left in a 1-2 possession game, and I would be in the back of my head thinking like, do I really belong out here? Is it better to put somebody else in? Whatever, and then kind of just have to kick those thoughts to the side and really focus on the present and how you can best help your team and know that you're in that position. Trust me, like if it was a by accident to be in that position, I would have been in that position before. But like you have to earn to even be on the court. And so the fact that I was in that position on the court helped just like my coach's confidence in me, and they were also like always positively reinforcing me and stuff. So that helped me kind of break down those mental barriers that I had set for myself as well.
Yeah, I think a main problem for me was that when I got put into that role, I didn't go to anybody about it, you know? I was just so happy and that like, you know, my work paid off and I was like, okay, I'm starting now, like I'm playing these big minutes. But then when I was out there and we were continuously losing, then that's when it kind of got in my head. I was like, okay, wait, like now I'm here and playing these big minutes and we're still losing. So like, is it my fault now? And like, am I like contributing to the problem? And like, how do my teammates feel? How do my coaches feel about it? Like, am I going to still be in this position? You know, because, you know, that could have been just like for a weekend I started and then I could have been out of there like the next weekend, you know, and back by like 12 to 14 minutes a game, you know? So I think like just overcoming that mental confidence is really just the biggest thing, just overall, you know?
Is there any specific things that you kind of leaned on when maybe you didn't have a great game? You were kind of maybe anxious that you were going to be taken out of the rotation or the starting lineup or XYZ that you kind of helped ground you and maintain your confidence to that you were able to excel throughout the whole season and constantly get better?
End of the day, I think it's really just believing in yourself. Like, I know I put in the work always. I know, and like, I've been really trying to get into my head that every time I step on the court, like, I got to think that I'm the best player out there. Whether the stats show it, whether the record shows it, it doesn't even matter. Like, as long as I believe that, like, I put in the work, I outwork the person who's guarding me, and I have, like, the confidence in myself. And the end of the day, no matter what, it's just about the performance. Whatever I do out there is like that's how it's supposed to be, you know?
Out of your control, yeah. That's something that I have been trying to focus on, especially this off season as well. Something that I realized is like the confidence and the self belief's got to come from the work in the process as opposed to like the result. Like I'm trying to detach how I feel about the next shot from the previous shot or shots. Like for example, we have open gym, and well, for example, I'll give a actual example. So we had our first open gym on Tuesday, and we had like coaches were watching. We had a recruit there. We had a couple new guys who are going to be like potentially big impact players for us playing next year, like recruits. And I didn't really shoot a basketball for like a week while I was at home. I worked out twice, and the last time I touched a basketball, I was horrible. I trained with Jake, and dude, I was horrible. It was at like 7:30 in the morning. Couldn't even like mentally put together like the footwork or anything. It was a bad session, and I I feel like that would make me have feelings, a little bit of anxiety feelings, just because it a little bit elevated. Obviously, open gym is nothing like playing in an actual game or anything, but there's still elevated pressure. There's obviously expectation. Obviously, I set an expectation for myself from things I've done this past year, and obviously, I want to improve that going forward and continue to build. And having all those adverse things, I feel like it would have been easy for me to just be like anxious and be like, I don't think I'm going to play well today. Like all these things are going against me. But instead of getting confidence, or I guess anxiety from a previous result or previous outcome or something that's out of my control, I was trying to ground myself in things that I've done that were in my control, such as going to the gym every day since those 9 to 10s at AOA, or even on my driveway during COVID, or J after school. Like I've been doing it for so long and consistently repping out my jump shot form and footwork and everything like that. I've just consistently been in the gym, that taking a week off and having one bad session really is not anything in the grand scheme of things, and has absolutely nothing determining factor to the next shot that I shoot or the next run that I play in. And so I'm really trying to ground myself and focus on and get my confidence from the things that I've done and controlled what I've controlled, and the process and growth that I've made, as opposed to like the previous outcome. And it goes for a positive thing too, is like just because I played well this past open gym doesn't mean I'm going to play well in the next open gym. And those things are not only are they independent, but the things that they are dependent on are the things that are in my control, which is the work and the process and the growth. You feel what I'm saying?
Sure.
Bro, I would in the dorm at AOA, me and Alex would always have conversations like this, and I would just be lecturing him about the process and about journaling and me just going on that rant.
He just wanted to make speed potions, bro. He didn't want any of this.
Yeah, like bro, me going on that rant kind of just gave me a flashback to like me going in my dorm room. He'd always knock on my door 3 times, and I know it's him. And then he'd be like, "Can I come in?"
Like the penny, the penny.
Every time. And I'd be like, I'd be in my bed, probably in my underwear, and then he'd be like, "Yo," and then we'd just be going back and forth, and that was good times. I don't know why that just like gave me a flashback of that, but that's probably something along the lines of that we've talked about previously.
I think one of the more interesting things that I think I've heard via osmosis, just being around him, is the misconception that the thing that makes college basketball hard is the actual basketball aspect of it. When I think a lot of the times when you take a step up in basketball, the higher you go up in levels, the more complicated the politics and things outside of the court become. And from my understanding, you went through a little bit of that. And I'm wondering, without maybe getting any
I don't know how much we can disclose.
Super specific or anything like that, but like I know that because I trained a kid in the summer. His name is Miles Epworth, and he ended up playing for Lincoln Prep. And his whole since he was 13 years old when I met him, he was set on playing college basketball, and I had a very similar experience. And the more he went up in levels, the more he was dealing with like less playing time and stuff off the court. And now there's money involved, and there's all these other factors that are sort of making it harder to stay focused on the craft. And did you experience that when you made college basketball?
Definitely, for sure. I think every school has their problems. Every school has their whatever it is, coaching, support staff, players, whatever it is, every school has their problems, I think. And for each and every player on the roster to say that, you know what, I fuck with it here, I love everything about this program, I don't think there's a program out there. So, look, obviously without getting into like anything specific, but there's obviously been times where like I think I should have been playing over a guy, or I should have been in the game at a certain point where somebody else shouldn't have been, or just like in practice, like the team's like starters bench third string like are like just don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? There's always been those like times, and as a player going through all those times, like everybody goes through it. It's like one of those like canon moments, you know. Going through it is sucks, like always for whoever it is. It's terrible, but it's really just staying focused and controlling what you can control. Like that's Max's go-to, but I think it's like the realest thing because end of the day, all you can do is go out there and hoop, regardless of whatever coach says, players say, the fans say, whatever it is. End of the day, all you can do is go out there and hoop, put in the work, stay in the gym, and then everything will work itself out from there.
Yeah, I think it's low key like a blessing and a curse. Obviously, like it sucks to be working your ass off, feeling like you're capable of contributing at the level that you see somebody else who maybe is doing less than you and performing worse than you think you could be doing is getting those opportunities. But like you said, controlling what you can control, like it's a blessing because you don't have to worry about it. Like if you just control what you can control. Like for example, for me, like sometimes I would be caught up in, oh, this person got in before I did. This person's on this team in practice and I'm on this team and I know that we're competing for playing time or whatever. And like if you really just take a step back and be like, if I just control what I can control of when I go out there, work my hardest, dive on loose balls, be a good team player in practice, like work hard, even in everything, like sprints, be super attention to detail during plays, get in my extra work, and I control everything that I can control. I know that everything will work out in my favor, regardless of what else is going on externally that's out of my control. If I control, just be at my best and do the things that I know that make me successful, things will fall into line for me because you're gonna have to play me, type of thing. So I think it is a blessing and a curse. You need to take that step back and really focus on just controlling what you can control.
Mhm.
What was I going to ask? I had a question on the tip of my tongue and then kind of just went on that rant.
I was going to ask him if his rap career is still alive.
Slimy 2X?
It's loading. It's loading. The album's loading. Just wait.
Album's been loading for 3 years now.
It's loading. Trust. You're about to see Slimy in the booth again.
How's your bracket doing?
Bro, I had a perfect bracket. First 10 picks were right.
Really? Not your one in my league though, right?
No, that one's bad. But I had one in another league that was perfect up until Wichita. No, not Wichita. Missouri versus Drake.
So currently I'm 29 out of 32 in my main bracket where I have money in my bracket. And Arkansas is up 3 versus St. John's, which I have in my bracket as well. And I also have we're not going to get into that for legal reasons. You'll cut this. But basically you're going to have to cut this whole segment. But yeah, bro, do you like March Madness? Are you big into the
Bro, I've been watching it bare.
Yeah. Is this because now you're in college you've been watching it, or have you all like grown up watching March Madness?
I've always definitely watched March Madness, but I never followed like college seasons more now. You know, like I've been super on it now. Definitely, I think because like college is involved. Like I think because I'm a college player. Like I want to see how other college players are doing, regardless what level.
For sure.
Yeah, I've been definitely fucking keeping up with that shit.
Bro, I started playing basketball or wanting to play college basketball because Duke won in the Final Four. I don't remember what year it was. Maybe it was like 2016, and that's when I always was playing basketball before then. But that's when like I want to be a part of something like that. Obviously, didn't quite get there to that level, but still had some sort of
It's
experience like that, which is still a dream come true for a lot of people, including myself. So now you're in the TP in the transfer portal. Talk a little bit about what you're looking for in a next opportunity. I know you've been speaking to a bunch of different institutions, both in Canada and in the U.S. You don't have to disclose names of schools or even locations, but if a location is a factor in it, but just talk about what you're looking for in your next home.
I think the main thing that I'm looking for is for this next destination to be my final school. Like I want to finish out all my years of eligibility at this next school, wherever it is, whether it's Canada, States, whatever it is, that's where I want to be for the rest of my eligibility. I don't want to keep bouncing around teams. I don't think that's like
shout out Ian.
Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with it, you know, people take that route, but I just think that like it's time for me to like find that one school that I'm gonna give it my all for my last like however many years I have. When like looking for what school I'm like wanting to go to, it's I think the main thing is the coach. I think I really want to play under a coach who like really like believes in me, who really thinks that what I bring to the table is like valid. It's gonna help the team. It's gonna be like whatever my role is. Like I'm not going in there like expecting like, yo, I need 30 minutes a game or else I'm not coming here. Like it's not one of those. Like it's like, do you see what I can do? Do you believe in my game like as much as I believe in it? And that's like the main thing. And then on top of that, like the other things, like the guys, like I really want like I don't know if I'm gonna get the same locker room that I got this year, just because everybody on this team is like really close friends, really close, like everything. But I want a good group of guys that would be like ideal because at the end of the day, you're going to war with with those guys every day. Coaches aren't on the court, like it's the players who are on the court. So coaches, player, location does play a little bit of a factor just because I'm in the middle of nowhere and I would like to live in a little bit of a better
He's actually in
city.
the Arctic right now. For y'all who don't know, Alex is in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, which is 8 hours north of Toronto. Like probably one of the most northern cities that is habitable in the world, I would say.
Yeah. So living in a better city would definitely be something I am looking for, but low key, any other school is a better city than this school. Than this city.
Shout out to Sue.
But no hate to the city, it's done good to me.
You don't care if it's in the States or Canada. That doesn't matter to you.
No, I don't care. End of the day, I want to win a championship. I want to win some sort of trophy or something wherever I go next. I want to cut down the mesh. I want to play in these big games, big playoff games. That's the dream. Watching March Madness is also like an added incentive. Like, yo, these guys are like really out here, like battling and like with their guys, and that's like
still like my season's been over for like 3-4 weeks now. I know yours has been over for maybe a little longer than that.
Exactly. So having that extra month of like competitive hoops with the guys, with your coach, I think that's like what basketball is all about, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Any locations in specific that you're looking into? No, you don't say schools, but I'm saying like location. Like I know we were talking about Cali, Florida, or being home type of thing. I'm not about to make you expose though. All your
definitely the warmer states for sure. Florida, Cali would be tough. Texas, something like that would be super cool. Well, if it's in Canada, I would love to be in the big cities like the Torontos, the Montreals, the Vancouvers. That would be cool. Big cities for sure. But yeah, it's still mostly, I think, the biggest factor is like the coaching staff and how much they believe in.
So I know, obviously, from personal conversations with you, you're a little bit of a superstitious guy. Like for one of the only people I know that refuses to shoot on game days because he thinks it makes him worse.
The opposite of jovial. He only shoots on game days.
I feel like I need to shoot on game days as well. What are some other superstitions that you got?
There are a lot, bro. Because like I don't know what it is, but every time on game days, like everything I do has something to do with the game, like on that day. So if I have a 7 p.m. game and I'm like eating at like 2, I'm looking back at like the last game and how I played. I'm like, shit, last game I only had 4 points and I ate at like 3. So okay, So maybe today I'm gonna eat at like 2 and then see if that changes. You know what I'm saying? Or like bro, this is a crazy one. But before the game, like I'll be like, okay, this is how many points I'm gonna score, and like I just take one breath and count out all the points. Like I'll just be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Like you hold your breath for as many seconds as points you feel like you're gonna score. Yeah, that's fire.
So, I'd be like dying at like 33 seconds, but I'm just trying to get a 40 ball,
Dude, I have a funny one. You saying that just reminded me. Sometimes when I would be driving, like for example, if we had like a Brody game and I'm driving to work or I'm driving to the J and I have my music on, I would set the volume to the amount of points that I felt like I was gonna score.
Yeah, bro.
So it's like 24, put the volume in 24. You know,
I've always wondered what would happen if you just didn't do any of your pregame
nothing.
rituals.
It'd be the exact same.
Like
For me,
literally, if you just threw everything up in the air,
Yeah, literally,
eat
absolutely.
at
nothing.
6 instead of 3.
Yeah.
Like, don't count at all. Count to 100 or count to 0. Like, just completely ignore everything.
Yeah, literally nothing. Like superstitions and all that doesn't matter. Like, to be honest, I really think nothing really matters except your performance. Like, nobody really cares how many hours you put into the gym. Like, the guy guarding me doesn't know how much work I put in, you know? So, end of the day, and like no coach knows how much of work I'm really putting in, you know? So, end of the day, I think the main thing is like performance. If you can go out there and perform, that's all anybody sees, you know? And
to
like,
add on to that is, can you also like bounce back from not performing well? Because obviously, like nobody has their A game every single game for a X amount of games. Like it's impossible. It's also how you bounce back from not having one of your good games, and that's something I was like when I was talking about before of like getting that confidence from the work is like because I also feel like I'm a little bit superstitious, like we just talked about, and like if I can and like tying the result back to maybe not even a previous result, but just like a previous something that's like out of my control. Like maybe something happened that day and I played well. And it's like, how can I make that happen again? Or something happened out of my control and I played bad. It's just like attaching that self belief to the work and to the thing that I can control and the growth and the consistency, as opposed to something like that will set you up to be able to play without any of those superstitions.
sure.
You got anything?
Mm,
You're just brain dead.
I'm so brain dead. Yeah.
Dude, I had a couple other things that I wanted to ask about. Okay, so what are your plans like this summer? Off the court, on the court, what type of things are you looking to work on? And then off the court, kind of what are you up to?
I think this summer's a big summer for me. Just because wherever I go next, they're gonna see me for the first time, like as like a player. So I think this is a very, very important summer, given that I'm also like healthy. Like I think I'm the healthiest I've ever been for a while. Um, um, so and I'm also really happy about our last summer. So this summer, I mean, planning it out, like obviously we were gonna do the Brody League again.
Oh yeah,
Um,
back to back champs. But we're getting coming for Pro-Am this year.
yeah, coming
I
from
need to figure that out because they're posting like stuff about the spring season now.
yeah. I mean, it's still low key early, but I mean, I'm sure it's gonna come out soon.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, so we gotta figure it out.
But yeah, definitely trying to get into as many pro runs as possible. Try and get into the gym a lot with like college level guys would be ideal. Um, on top of like working, like getting my bread up for sure too. But in terms of basketball, I think the main focus for me right now is getting a little more stronger. Like I'm trying to be a better defender. I think I'm getting there, but like I want to be like a good defender. You know what I'm saying? Because my defense was a little shaky to start. You know, but yeah, I think defense and strength is definitely something I'm focusing on a lot for this summer, and then just getting offensively, I'm trying to be like elite. Like I want to get to that elite point where it's like, yo, this guy is very hard to guard, you know? Like to the point where it's like somebody like the only way I miss is because if I miss, you know, it's not like because you stop me, you know. I want to get to that point where it's like that, you know.
Definitely. All right, I think that's all I got for this episode today. Thank you for making the time. Apologies for the technical difficulties. And yeah, I'm gonna hit you in a little bit.
For sure.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
I skipped my high school prom. Now that part of me's gone. So I don't pick up my car.